السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الغمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. ما بعد، فإن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة بالنار. أما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, inshallah we're going to be starting a series in which that talks about one of the most essential things that all human beings are in need of. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was sent so I could complete morality. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He wanted to bless Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed his character. And He said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And indeed, you have the best of characters. So inshallah, in this series, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we will talk about the importance of morality. And we're going to be taking one at a time, one of the morals of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and discuss it in depth and in details. And it's an important question, my dear respected brothers and sisters, before we start. It is to find what is morality. Because nowadays we live in a world where people are lacking morality. People don't know what is morality. People are, maybe morality become even a strange thing, because now, as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have said, بُعِثَ الْإِسْلَامُ غَرِيبًا وَسَيَعُودُ غَرِيبًا كَمَا بَدَأَ. That Islam started as a strange thing, and it's going to go back to being strange, just like it started. Allah Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said what? فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَى. Glad tidings for those who are strange. Glad tidings for those who are strange. So therefore, morality nowadays, it is something that is indeed strange, in which that we live in a strange world where everything is upside down. If you lie, it's good. Nakedness is a style. If you cheat, you're considered to be a good man, and etc. So everything now, unfortunately, is upside down. So there is a need for us to know what is morality. My dear respected brothers and sisters, al-khuluq, which is morality in Arabic, we're going to define it linguistically, the meaning of the word khuluq in Arabic linguistically, and the meaning of it in the religion. So what does the word khuluq mean linguistically? Al-khuluq ismun لزحية الإنسان وطبيعة خلقه. The word khuluq in Arabic, it means that it talks about the norms of the human beings, and the norms of the human being. Ibn Faris, one of the great scholars of language, he defined khuluq in a whole different way that I'm going to be talking about in a bit of details. What is it? How he defined it? He said, وَمِنْ هَذَا الْمَعْنَى أَيْ تَقْدِيرُ الشَّيْء. It is the value of something. Khuluq, he defined it, is the value of something. And this is indeed, my dear brothers and sisters, it is what makes human beings valuable. Akhlaq, as we have talked about in the past, it's what gives value to a human being. The same human being. If we said, Muhammad or Ahmad, let's say Muhammad or Ahmad was a liar, was a cheater, was a person who tricks the people, who kills, who murders, who does all sort of corruption, versus the same person who is truthful, who is nice, who is gentle, who has faith, who does not lie, who treats people appropriately, who is nice to his neighbors. What gives value to the same Muhammad or Ahmad in either situation is morality. And that's the main thing that makes human beings in this earth more valuable than other individuals. And that's the difference between us and all the creations Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have put in this earth. You're not going to say this goat have morality, or you're not going to say this moon have morality, or this earth have morality. The only thing that gives human being morality in this world The only thing that gives a human being and makes a human being distinguished in earth, it is morality. And that's what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, like I said, was sent to complete. Unfortunately, we live in a world, my dear brothers and sisters, that even Muslims, morality became strangers to Muslims themselves, in which that they are sometimes worried about the outer appearance of the individual, and they are indeed missing what's inside. What's inside. وذكر القرطبي أن المراد بالخلق العظيم, as Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had described Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, like I said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, and indeed you have the best of characters. So Imam al-Qurtubi, he wanted to translate this verse. What does it mean when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indeed you have the best of characters? Imam al-Qurtubi said that you have the most complete form of character as the Quran have indeed prescribed. Let's go on. So this is the word khuluq mean in linguistic meaning. Now let's even look at the word khuluq in their religious meaning in Islam. And wallahi, my dear brothers, this is where it becomes extremely interesting. قال الجاحظ أن الخلق, look at this definition, أن الخلق هو حال النفس وما يفعل الإنسان وأفعاله بلا رؤية ولا بالاختيار. Wow. He said the definition of the word akhlaq, it is what the human being would do without showing off, and what would he do naturally? What would he do naturally? And he continues, and he said, وَالْخُلُقُ قَدْ يَكُونَ فِي بَعْضِ النَّاسِ غَرِيزَةً وَطَبْعًا. He said, in some individuals, akhlaq can be something that is part of them since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them. Okay? وَفِي بَعْضِهِمْ لَا يَكُونُ إِلَّا بِالرِّيَاضَةِ وَالْإِجْتِهَادِ. And to some people, akhlaq can come with exercise and with him struggling to be a better individual. And this is indeed something that is true. In which that sometime, indeed, yes, not all of us are coming out of the wombs of our mothers having good morals. Or, for instance, let's talk about one thing, being generous. Okay? Being generous. So not all of us, as soon as we are born, we could come out as generous individuals. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made certain people, as soon as they are created, that they are generous. You will see them like to give. They like to give their mothers, their brothers, their sisters, their fathers, their neighbors. They like to give. But indeed, some other people, they have to struggle with this. Sometimes maybe they're born in an environment where they're taught otherwise. Maybe sometimes like for instance, for people who are born in an environment of a drought, for instance, naturally, possibly they are taught to be stingy, But what happened is, does that mean does this individual could say, Wallahi, I'm sorry, brother, I am created this way. I am created to be stingy. I am created to not to have shyness or not have haya. I'm created for me to be arrogant. Could we just make that argument? Even though he's right, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have, maybe he was created this way, that does not mean that it's going to be the end of the story. Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has also taught us, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ وَإِنَّمَا الْحِلْمُ بِالتَّحَلُّمِ. That indeed, if you want to be a knowledgeable person, then you have to learn knowledge, right? You have to exercise, you have to open books, you have to struggle, you have to go to the libraries. And if you want to be gentle, you have to exercise gentleness too. You have to struggle with it, and etc. So therefore, it is important, my dear brothers and sisters, that just because you're not born with certain morality, that you stop here. And this is the test as I look at it. Wallahi, if you look at the individuals in this room, not all of us are complete. This is the reality. You might have morals that you are born with different than the ones that I'm born with. And there might be some morals that I am born with that you are not born with. And this is the beauty of this test, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that we all struggle. You know your deficiency, and you struggle with it, and you try to be that individual. If you are not generous, you try to be generous. If you don't have the haya, you struggle to have shyness. If you don't have humbleness, you struggle to be a humble, and etc. You see? So not all of us, you're not going to find one individual in all of this earth that have all of the morality except for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concluded he made him as a role model to all of humanity, and that's why we're supposed to be following him as an individual. So now after we define the word khuluq linguistically and religiously, we have to talk about the importance of akhlaq in our religion. Wallahi, my dear respected brothers and sisters, there is one thing we need to be proud of. We have to be proud of the fact that our religion is indeed a complete religion. A religion that teaches us each and everything. A religion that have taught us, from A to Z, everything that we are in need of. Subhanallah, if there is in our religion, my dear brothers and sisters, there is so much emphasis in morality that that people are indeed missing. There is, subhanallah, like I said in a minute ago, many of us, my dear brothers and sisters, we are so concentrated in the outer appearance. He said, brother, wallahi, I have a beard, or I'm wearing a abaya, or I have a hijab. But the thing is, does it really stop there? Does it really stop with it? And you have the other extreme, in which that you have people, like in one side you have people who are from the outside, they look great. They have the beard, they have the sunnah, and all these things are good things that we must have too. Having the appropriate hijab, having the appropriate beard, having the appropriate dress, and this is indeed outer look that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ taught us to have. No, we're not going to deny that. But in the same token, does that mean that you completely lacking of the morality? In the same token, you have people on the other extreme. They said, Ya akhi, I'm not going to pray, I'm not going to fast, I'm not going to have a beard, I'm not going to have a hijab, I'm going to go wake up and I'm going to go party and do everything. But wallahi, I have a good heart and I do not lie. It doesn't work that way either. You see, these are the two extremes that the ummah are living in currently, in which that you have one extreme that is focused on morality and completely ignoring the shara'i and the rulings that exist within our deen, and you have another one in which that they are good and polished from the outside and they're extremely empty from the inside. They have no core. They have no value. And we need a combination of the both. And that's what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ have came, in which that he taught us how to be outside and how to be inside. Just like an apple. Just like an apple. See, an apple, for it to be a good apple, it has to have a good surface from the outside. If it does not have a good thick skin from the outside, all sorts of worms can go inside and penetrate it. In the same token, it's sweet and sugary from inside once you eat it. You see? And that's what we want. We want something that would look like us as Muslims, appropriate Muslims from the outside, but in the same token, we want when people see us and when people treat us and when people deal with us, we want them to teach them to see the sweetness of Islam and the morality that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has taught us. You see, so both are important. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was described, what is the characteristics of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? They used to say, لم يكن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فاحشا ولا متفحشا وإنه كان يقول إن خياركم أحسنكم خلقا. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was never to be a fahish, someone who is talks foul, no encourage what is foul. He does not say the words that nowadays people are describing in letters. We have literally ran out of ABCs, the A word and the B word and the C word and the Z word. We literally ran out of letters of the people nowadays named as cuss words. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his tongue literally dripped out honey. Every time he talks what is good. He forbid what is wrong. People, when they look at him, they smile. And this is the character of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He would encourage anything that is foul, looking, whether it was, making fun of people even with signs, or belittling people, or any form of that. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Indeed, the best of you is the one who have the best of character." Indeed, the best of you who have the best of character. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have told us that the role model that we should be looking at to is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. Indeed, in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you have the best and the most ideal characteristics that you should be following. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم إن من أكمل المؤمنين إيمانا أحسنهم خلقا. Now look at this hadith. Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم have equated iman, faith, with morality. He said the people who have the best of faith, the people who have the best of faith, iman, are the ones that have the best of characters. And this is, my dear brothers, this is something that is huge and important. Because let's say you could be coming to the masjid, you could be praying Qiyam al-Layl, fasting each and every other day, giving zakah, but you cheat, but you lie, but you have no haya, you talk foul. You're not humble. When people look at you look down into them. So what is the faith that you have? You see? So here, this hadith equates faith with morality. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he wants us. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wants the whole world to hear how Islam treats women. Because nowadays we live in a world where people say, how Islam deprives women of their rights and how Islam mistreats women. Look at what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said. He said, وَخِيَارُكُمْ خِيَارُكُمْ لِنِسَائِهِمْ خُلُقًا. He said, the best of you, who is the best of you, are the one who is best in treating their women. Now let all the Islamophobes hear this hadith. How Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dealt with his wife, how he dealt with his wife, how he encouraged all of the Muslims to deal with their women, in which the best of us is the one that deals with the best with their women. وكان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, إن المؤمن ليدرك بحسن خلقه درجة الصائم القائم. Again. Now with this hadith, it talks about the importance of how, not necessarily someone who could just have good morality, how much good deeds he could compile by just having the good morality. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the one of you with good morality, he could have the same reward as someone who is fasting and who is praying all at night. Someone with your good morality, with your good character, could have the same reward as someone who is fasting during all of the daytime and who is making Qiyam al-Layl, praying all night, every day. Subhanallah. Again, this will show you the importance, how we should be not ignoring, and we should be. This is something that we need to struggle and learn. When we hear each and every character of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we should think, how could I be that individual? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "ما من شيء أثقل في الميزان العبد يوم القيامة من حسن الخلق." He said, there is nothing that is more heavy in the scale in the hereafter more than morality itself. Now let's look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he wanted to teach us about morality, he wanted us not just to kind of relate this to this dunya, to this world. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam want us to relate morality to the hereafter, and how is it going to affect us in the hereafter. Look at this beautiful hadith. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna min ahabbikum ilayya wa aqrabukum minni majlisan yawm al-qiyamah." He said, the best of you, the one I love, and who is closer to me in the hereafter, are the ones that have the best of characters. And he said, وَإِنَّ أَبْغَضَكُمْ إِلَيَّ وَأَبْعَدَكُمْ مِنِّي مَجْلِسًا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. He said, there are three people who I dislike, and who are very far away from me in the hereafter. Let's look at who are these people. He said, الثَّرْثَارُونَ الْمُتَشَدِّقُونَ الْمُتَفَيْقِهُونَ. Who are these people? And we're going to be spending a little bit of time talking about these three people. The very first set of people, he said, الثَّرْثَارُونَ, those who talk too much. People who, when they start talking, they don't stop. When you ask them, how are you? They give you the right, they recite to you 2 paragraphs. The thing is, Islam, my dear brothers and sisters, taught us to watch our tongue. to watch our tongue. And how could we, pick the words just like we are picking apple from the tree? Just because you talk too much, that doesn't mean that all of the stuff that come out of your mouth is of a value, because the more you talk, the more likely you will make mistakes. It's as simple as that. Like, for instance, if I have two individuals, one that talks 100 words, and the same person who talks 10 words, who is likely to make more mistakes when they talk? Obviously, the one who talks too much. So there's what Prophet Muhammad told us, that As-Sartharun, he dislikes them, and they're going to be far away from him because they make a lot of mistakes. And the second set of people, al-mutashaddiqun, those who, when they talk, you would feel that words are like, coming out of their mouth as they are huge or big people, as if they wanted to, they're big scholars, or they're like, or they're somebody of a high status, These people, Prophet Muhammad said, they're far away from me, and and he dislikes them. In which this is a form of arrogance, and inshallah we're going to be talking about the evidence how Prophet Muhammad, the arrogance and its effect, and how Prophet Muhammad this encourages up against this. And the last set of people who are al-mutafaqihun, and the people who are the word faqih, people who think of themselves as fuqaha, or people who are arrogant. People who are arrogant. وقد سئل النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن أكثر ما يدخل الناس الجنة. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم was once asked, what is the number one thing that gets people into Jannah? He said, التقوى الله وحسن الخلق. Fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and having the best of characters. Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, he taught us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have taught us, that in the Surah Al-Baqarah, all of us maybe know this verse. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَيْسَ الْبِرَّ أَن تُوَلُّوا وُجُوهَكُمْ قِبْلَ الْمَشْرِقِ وَالْمَغْرِبِ. Having the best of character, having the best of all good, al-birr. It is not just praying and saying Allahu Akbar and going to Hajj. Having the best of character is being good with other individuals. Because think is, my dear respected brothers and sisters, think of it this way. When someone, maybe not all of us would pray, but for you to control yourself in the times when it needs to be controlled, it's indeed difficult. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, ليس الشديد بالسرعة ولكن الشديد من أمسك نفسه حين الغضب. He said the strong person, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he told us, the strong person is not the one who could wrestle with another individuals, or the person who is fast. This is not the one who is strong. Strong is the one that holds himself when he's angry. This is the strong person. And this is indeed, the importance of morality. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and I'm inshallah going to end with this, he said, أنا زعيم بيت في ربض الجنة لمن ترك المراءة وكان محقا. Now Prophet ﷺ, now he's not just telling us now the reward of it, how close a person would be in the hereafter because of morality. Now Prophet ﷺ tell us what is this person place in Jannah in the hereafter. He said, I am, guarantee a house in Jannah in the beginning of it for a person who leave arguing even if he's right. If two people are arguing, and someone he doesn't, one person he want to prove his point, and the other one is challenging him, and etc. Want to make sure that he is wrong. Prophet ﷺ said, because to show us in a living argument, it could be multiple characteristics involved in one instance, in which that you're showing yourself being humble. I don't want to argue with you. I don't want to talk. Again, it's the characteristic of not talking too much. Not showing yourself, and etc. So Prophet ﷺ said that, I guarantee a house in Jannah in the beginning of it for those who leave showing off in argument, even if he's right. وَلِمَنْ تَرَكَ الْكَذِبَ وَإِنْ كَانَ مَازِحًا. And he said, and I guarantee a house in Jannah, and now we're in the middle of it, He wasat al-jannah. For a person who leaves lying, even if he is joking. Nowadays, unfortunately, we live in a world where everything people joke, and there's now TV shows now that from the beginning to the end is lying and making people laugh. Why? Because it's fun. And again, the thing is, no matter how laughable things are, at the end of the day, this individuals, when somebody is making a show of making fun and making people laugh, who is he mocking at? He's individually mocking other people. He's mocking at other cultures. He's mocking at other other nationalities. And whether we like it or not, or whether you realize it or not, inside, after you leave that show or whatever you have watched, it would affect you. Because let's say a person got up on TV and he made fun of, for instance, Arabs or Pakis or Indians. Now, let's say you watched and you had a good laugh, okay? And then you left the TV and you went outside. Now, let's say you left your house and you saw an Arab or an Indian or a Pakistani walking. What is the very first thing that pops into your mind? Oh, their accent. Oh, the way they're camel jockeys. They ride camels. This is human nature. You cannot help it, because this is how it's going to affect you. And whether you like it or not, you will be belittling people and think yourself as a better individual because you just watch a show that makes fun of them. And this is the reality that we're living in. And Prophet Muhammad said, "Silatul rahim wa husnul khuluq yu'ammiran diyar wa yazidan fil a'mar." Now, look at even the benefits now of having good characters. He said, in having good relationship with your relatives, checking on your uncles and your aunts, and having good morals would extend your life, would make you live longer. So, and I'm gonna, inshallah, forgive me, I said I'm gonna end, but this is the hadith I want to end with, and this is something that a message to the Muslims and the non-Muslims that shows you that now we live in the days like I said, people they don't have their priorities right when it comes to doing the best thing. A man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, "Ma ayyu al-a'mali afdal ya Rasulullah?" What are the best things that any individual would do? He said, "Al-imanu billah," having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. "Wal-jihadu fi sabili," and fighting or struggling in the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. "Wal-hajj al-mabrur," and making hajj. And then this man left away. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, and he continued. He said, وَأَهْوَنُ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, and it's easier for you than all of this. Look at this. And then easier for you than all of this, إِطْعَامُ الطَّعَامِ, feeding those who are in need of feeding. وَلِينِ الْكَلَامِ, having nice, gentle words to the individuals. وَحُسْنُ الْخُلُقِ, and having the best of morality. For those who kill in the name of Islam, for those who harm other people in the name of Islam, for those who think that Islam is a violent religion that teaches people how to kill and bloodthirsty, listen to the words of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He tells you, more important than all of this, having easier than you than all the difficult deeds that people invest in, and they think that they're doing right and justice to Islam, is in feeding people, talking gentle to people, and having good morality. And Prophet ﷺ said good morality. He did not say good morality to certain sects or certain people, to everyone, whether you are Muslim or non-Muslim. And this is an obligation that we should be having. Again, this tells you, my dear brothers and sisters, the importance of morality. How Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came to fulfill this aspect of life, and the aspect that all human beings are in need of. Inshallah, as each and every week we'll talk about one characteristic at a time, and inshallah, I hope that you attend and bring other people with you, inshallah, to attend. If I said anything that is good, as indeed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet. If I said anything that is inappropriate for myself and shaitan, جزاكم الله خير لحسن استماعكم سبحانك وحمدك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. جزاكم الله خيرا.